Hey, Color of Truth family, this is Professor Green coming with another segment of Color of Truth where we unveil the real color of all truth. I want to have a discussion today about a news segment that I watched that talked about white people as a whole are decreasing in numbers. And part of that saying that there was more multiracial groups forming within the United States. Now, there was some statistics a while back that said that the white race was going to be dwindled in number by 2045, and that they will become a minority group. But I kind of want to debunk and deconstruct that a little bit. Whites as a whole have always been a minority group. It's just that those who identify themselves as white in order to increase their numbers. Globally, people of color as a whole have always been the majority group. Now, there's a distinct differentiation between dominance and minority versus the old term, which was majority minority. So we know that those who are classified as minority groups are those who are involuntary in status, meaning social class, from a sociological perspective. those who are exploited and have the most unfair, unequal treatment, right? Those that have the lower social class are considered minority group. Now, a lot of time we hear minority, we automatically think African American, Asian, Native American, Island Pacificas, right? These types of groups. And globally, you have in India, you have the Dalits, you have different groups all over. Christians are considered a Muslim. If you look at it from a global perspective, they are considered minority groups, But those that are considered to have the most privilege, the most power, and the highest social status are considered dominant groups, right? Which can be in any group. And I also want to call to your attention that women as a whole globally are considered minority groups because they are subject to unfair and unequal treatment. Now, what happened, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant or mainstream white America used to discriminate against not what you classify as white ethics. So those are your Polish, your Slavs, your Germans, your Irish, right? Your Jewish ethnic groups. All of these individuals and all these ethnic groups were considered less than. They were the targets of ridicule and discrimination and dehumanization by the WASP, or the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant groups. Then later on, to enlarge their numbers, they included the white ethnic groups to give the illusion of dominance or majority. They accepted, and not only did they accept, most people that are individual groups that are ethnic groups or white ethnics begin to identify themselves as white in order to have the privilege of what they thought were the dominant culture. So I just kind of want to bring a brief little explanation of what's going on as we talk about multiculturalism, as we talk about multi-races. It's to increase those numbers. So whites of a whole have always been a minority group. And people of color as a whole have always been the global majority. Now, if people of color would identify themselves as people of color and not buy into the myth of white dominance, then they can do more together. But what happens is Many people of color, and I know a lot of people may not agree with this, but it is what it is. A lot of people of color oftentimes identify themselves as white in order to think that they will reap the benefits, especially if they're very, very, very fair skinned, or they can pass, which is the old term. It's historical in nature. It's data driven, and you could go back and do your own research, and you could see it interwoven throughout the fabric of our society. Color of truth.